Welcome, and thank you for your interest in applying for the Emma Bowen Foundation's internship program. My name is Niena Drake, and I'm the director of the Emma Bowen Foundation's All Multicultural Media Professionals Network, which we also call the AMP Network. First, I would love to share a little bit about my personal story as I got my start in the business as an EBF intern and fellow. Today, I am a proud alum and an Emmy Award-winning producer, writer, director, and entrepreneur. I've worked with some of the biggest brands, celebrities, and organizations in the world, including Nike, Netflix, Apple, and so many more. But like I said, I got my start in the business through EBF. I started as a high school student working at Fox Chicago, worked all throughout college, and they ultimately hired me before I graduated college. While I was there, I learned how every single department worked together, and I actually worked in every department. But I found my home in the newsroom as a producer and writer, covering everything from sports, investigative, hard news, and anything else you can think of. It was an amazing experience that laid a beautiful foundation for my exciting career that I still have to this day. I hope that my little bit of sharing has inspired you to complete this application with so much excitement that you could have a journey as exciting as mine, if not even better. So let's get into these application tips on how you can make your application stand out. There are specific components to the application process, and those include your application form, your resume, your LinkedIn profile with the photo, and your HireVue interview. You want to make sure that your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and your application all have consistent and correct information across the board. And while we won't be taking a deep dive into the HireVue interview in this video, be sure to read all of the instructions on our website. I just want to underline that it is very important that you all read, understand, and follow all the directions that we have listed on our website carefully so that you fully complete every step of the application process. Now, let's get into the resume. Let's start with the resume because this is a really important part of how you present yourself to us as well as others in the professional world. It's very important that you create a clear, concise, and very thorough resume. Be sure to not only list your responsibilities for each role, but specify and include any data and numbers that show how you created change in that role. Give very specific examples of how you made an impact in that position, such as increase sales by 10%. Be sure to list not only your work experience, but your extracurricular activities, volunteer work, and any academic experience because this shows how well-rounded you are as a candidate. This also shows that you understand the balance and bridge between what you do and how you bring your personal self to your career. Also, add any skills and tech tools that you are well versed in and any certifications that you may have acquired. This can also include software programs or hardware that is related to the field of work you do. And then make sure that it is in a PDF or Word format. And we would also caution against using a photo on your resume. While we understand that there are some instances in which your photo may be suggested, such as an on-camera position you may be applying for, we suggest that you do not add a photo. Because what you want to focus on is your skills, experience, and how you're going to make an impact and add value to that company. And lastly, make sure that you proofread and check for all typos and any formatting inconsistencies. And it's always great to ask a trusted person, such as someone in your career services department, to review your resume before sharing it or sending it out. Now, let's take a look at the best practices for a resume. While we know there are a lot of software programs out there that will give you a template with color blocking and specific format styles and designs, we recommend that your primary resume is a standard format like this one, especially when applying online, as some companies will use what are called applicant tracking systems or ATSs. And those systems are not always able to read these beautifully formatted resumes. What we suggest is a very clear, concise, and standard one-page format resume like this one, using Times New Roman or Arial font in a size 12 with everything listed in chronological order, clear titles, spacing, and formatting. Feel free to screenshot this image here as a reference. There are some exceptions in regards to roles that include graphic designers, for example, where having a designed resume works to your benefit because you're specifically applying for a role that calls for you to be a visual designer. But otherwise, this is the standard format that we suggest for all applicants to submit and use as their primary resume. Now, let's get into LinkedIn. There's so much to cover, but we're going to go over just the basics so you know how to create and or update your profile with specific adjustments so you present your best self not just to us, but to everyone who's going to see your profile. First, I want to share that LinkedIn is one of my favorite and one of the most powerful social platforms for building your business network. These are just some of the benefits. Your network is one of the most valuable assets you'll need to create longevity in this business, and LinkedIn is a great place to build your network. And you should definitely be building your network, not just in person, but virtually as well. Even if you decide to transition out of the business, your network of people that you know and know you can help give you insight about salaries, negotiating, movement within the industry, company growth, and so much more. You can connect with people on LinkedIn that are not on other social platforms such as Instagram or Twitter. Also, the initial connection is usually much more professional than it is on other social platforms. You can land your next career opportunity, and you can actually make money on LinkedIn. So build it before you need it. Starting off, you want to make sure that your profile picture is bright, clear, and welcoming. So smile and don't use a logo. It's not as personal as a photo, and this does not need to be done by a professional photographer. You can take a great picture with your mobile device. Your background image should be a powerful image that conveys your work or shows you doing what you do. Don't stress about this if you do not have an image that shows this. It's fine to leave it with a default background until you have a great photo to add. Your name should be the same as it is listed on your resume. It needs to be consistent across the board. If you use your middle name or initial, make sure that you use that here in the exact same way, and so forth. Otherwise, people won't be able to find you. Your headline is very important, so make sure it's clear, concise, and powerful. One of the key things to remember in this section is to make sure that you share what you've done and how you can add value to others, because this is going to be one of the first things that potential connections look at when deciding if you are a valuable connection. It can make or break them accepting your request or not. For current position, if you're a full-time student in school, it's okay to say that in this section, but be sure to add your specific field of interest such as marketing, journalism, field, or etc. Your summary is a very important section to your profile, so please don't skip this section, as it is an opportunity for you to share a summary of your work and other specifics that show your accomplishments, growth, and personality. Think of this as your bio and elevator pitch. This will take some time, but it's absolutely worth it. For your contact information, make sure that this is also consistent with what is on your resume and that it's easy for people to get in touch with you. I recommend specifically adding an email address that you use on a daily basis, but not a phone number here. So now I would like to walk you through my profile so you can see exactly what I'm referring to. On this page, all of the red arrows are the sections and where you can edit each section. The third arrow pointing at the speaker icon on this page is a newer feature that LinkedIn has added, which is an audio file that allows you to pronounce your name so people can know how to say it correctly. You can only record this on the mobile version of LinkedIn, so you need to download the app in order to do so, but the audio file will play on both mobile and desktop. Now, this is another example of a great welcoming and vibrant profile that is clear and stands out. Sean is a great friend of mine. We went to undergrad together, and she's using a vibrant color, very clear, well-framed headshot where she's smiling, looks smart, welcoming, and professional, and her background image is appropriate to the industry that she works in. This is another great example of what to do with your background image if you don't have a personal photo of yourself in action. Now let's get into the experience, accomplishments, and more sections. Your experience section should definitely mirror your actual resume, but keep in mind that LinkedIn provides more space, so it can actually be a bit longer than your resume. Most definitely make sure that the company names are spelled correctly. And one of the most powerful features here in this section is adding media. If you have a portfolio, reel, article, or video link, definitely make sure that you are adding these to each section of your experience to make it even more powerful. For your education section, be sure to add any training or certifications that you may have, as this is a specific way that some hiring managers look for qualified candidates based off of certifications and training. And lastly, your volunteer experience is a great place to share other companies and organizations you've worked with and that you are a well-balanced candidate. Now this page is just some screenshots of what I was just mentioning. I have my positions under experience on the left, and on the right side, I have my education and volunteer experience. All the images you see under each position, those are actual media clips. And if you visit my profile and click on any of those, you'll be directed to either a video file, article, or document that relates specifically to the work I did in that role. And these just add additional value to the job descriptions that I already have listed on my profile. Now here are more tips to elevate your profile, starting with the featured skills and endorsement section. Be very specific in this section, using keywords because it really is a major way recruiters find and compare you to other candidates. You can list up to 50 skills here. The recommendation section is a great place to show that you've built great working relationships, and you should ask others to write recommendations for you. Be very specific when asking so that they can speak directly to your strengths, character, and expertise. And you should also be open to writing recommendations for others, as it is a great way to exchange positive engagement on the platform. For the accomplishment section, be as thorough as possible. And don't be afraid to honestly and genuinely toot your own horn. And finally, your interest is another great way for people to find you in common groups and specific interests in companies, so be sure to add interests here as well. Here are more examples of what I was just speaking about. Be sure to add the Emma Bowen Foundation as one of your interests, because if people are searching and they see that you also have a similar interest in the foundation, they might find you and request to connect. And with that said, we hope these tips have made you even more excited about submitting your application and on presenting your best self to us and to the world. As always, you can reach out to us if you have any questions, but be sure to read all of the instructions on our website first. As I shared earlier, this program changed my life in ways that I could have never imagined. And I hope that and more for all of you all. So congratulations on taking this step in your career. We wish you all the best and cannot wait to see your application very soon.